All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back. Continuing along, of course, our Monday afternoon here, August 10th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin and make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. There we go. Great to see the usual suspects. Finally, all of us live inside the trading room here. Kathleen, Jeff, Sharon, Pat, Chuck, Greg, Mark. You guys are all rolling in way too fast. I love to see that, though. Great to see all of our students live inside the Cyber Group trading room. And of course, as I'd mentioned earlier, we are doing a little bit of a stream early on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube, as we normally do at this time. We had some tech issues early on this morning. So for all of our students, first and foremost, I thank you guys so much for understanding. We've had some tech issues just from the storm, the hurricane last week. And then once we thought we were all set to go going into Monday morning next week, small little tech issue with getting inside the trading room. So without further ado, guys, let's hop right into it. It's long beyond us at this point. The Nikola, this thing is pushing up higher going into the close. A little bit of a gap fill too. You could see back from a couple weeks ago. Stock ended up just getting crushed at the lows of the day, 48.31, reopened up much lower the following morning off a big gap down. So it's trying to fill that gap as we speak. Not to say it's going to run perfectly to 48.31 or whatever going into the end of the day, but this is exactly where we would want to see a stock like Nikola, gap fill or not aside even. So, with this near the highs of the day easily, I'm just going to put this back on our list going into the afternoon. And KLA has had a tough time cracking higher, as you can see clearly, but specifically the major resistance that we've had off of 45, a 160,000 share order currently on the ask. You don't see him here on level 2 or level 3 right now. It's kind of far away from that major level, but at 45 bucks, there's a 161,751 share seller on the ask. All right. So, for right now, that easily will be our major resistance, our top going into the close. And with that, what we'll do is just really go from the picks from earlier on this morning. I want to go through a couple that unfortunately didn't really do too well for us, I should say, to begin, because it's not always about the winners and the oohs and ahs. The TRVN. I'll get to this right now because this was certainly a dud once the market opened up. Most of this action, most of the run up was in the after hours on Friday. Gapped up pretty big going into the 4 o'clock pre-market open. But by the time it was 7 o'clock, the thing was already dumping back down. So not to say the writing was on the wall for a complete dump off after the open. But, with this dumping off going into 9:30, we better see the stock make a strong break, a clean pop over a major resistance to hold over that same price level as support and for it to run back up higher. It didn't do that. So, this ended up being a huge dud today after 9:30. I will say, if anything, maybe we'll come back to this trade going into the next 10 or 15 minutes because right now, and we ended up seeing a major support, a big iceberg order early in the pre-market off of 3. It took its sweet time. It bounced over 3 once, but it broke under 3. And actually, right now, it broke under and over 3. So, the hope would be to see this stock actually move much higher going into the end of the day. Not to say higher over the high of the day, 368, but have this wiggle up 10, 15 cents right now. I think it's low risk at the least. So I wouldn't mind actually coming back to this TRVN just once we finish the percent gainers and losers. But wanted to go over one that unfortunately wasn't really a huge winner from the market open, more of a dud. In fact, a couple of these others here too, the blockchain stocks, Riot and Mara, both. We ended up seeing Bitcoin make a huge move going into yesterday, Sunday that is. I think Bitcoin cracked over 12,000. So if that means anything to anybody, from what we go through in this afternoon meeting, if we see Bitcoin make a big move up, oftentimes we tend to see the Riot, the Mara, these blockchain affiliated stocks move with it. Well, with that in mind, we ended up seeing Bitcoin kind of slump off, after 9:30. With that, well, Mara dropped off with it. Riot, this was more flat than anything, so this didn't really tail off as much as the Mara stock did. I want to jump to this really fast, guys, and both are duds right now, but I want to mention really quickly, I think it's Riot. Oh, no, 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 maybe it's not. Okay. I was going to say, I thought Riot earnings were this week. I guess I was wrong with that. It's, I think, next week. Next Friday. Okay, I'll scratch that then at least. For right now, going into the close, I'll tell you, I was right on Friday afternoon. I mean, money on this, both of them. With them both down big going into the end of Friday afternoon, we were hoping for a squeeze up, and boy, were we right on that. Mara from 4 all the way up towards 460-ish going into the close. Riot, same thing. This was down 15, 16% by the time 2:30 hit. We saw the double bottom. We put this on our list right here, and it was a smooth sailing trade up going into the afternoon. Not to say history is going to repeat day over day like that, right? I mean, the Riot looks just flat right now. It's doing nothing. Mara has some more traction to it given the downtrend. We're hopeful for this to make a bit of a squeeze, but for right now, I'm not going to put this on our main list just yet either. All right, guys, there were a couple of other trades that, of course, did well, and we'll go through those in just a bit. Actually, I'll jump to one before we go through the percent gainers and losers list. I don't know if it would still be up as much, but MGM, very flat right now. We ended up catching this pretty much during Fausto's morning meeting, right when he first started. So really quick, guys, I don't know if Fausto copied and pasted the news on this. The news in relation to MGM, I think it's a 12% stake by this company, IAC Interactive Corp. A 13D filing showed a 12% plus stake on MGM Casinos. So post the news right now across the board, trading room on YouTube Live. Yeah, ended up making a big pop going into the open, but dumped off like a lot of those do shortly after the market opens. But this thing is super flat right now. It's not really doing much of anything. I think it's just exhausted even from the pre-market move. Definitely a great stock to keep in mind for the rest of this week. Right away, guys, I would put this on your side list. It's certainly more of a level 2, maybe level 3 stock. So it's not too volatile for a lot of us, but definitely not like a Mara, definitely not like a Riot like right now. It will move pretty sharply going into the rest of this week, I think. All right. All right, so what we'll do is go right from top to bottom. Of course, the top percent gainer still is MCRB. I say, of course, just for all of us here inside the trading room earlier, this stock was up 300+% going into 930, right? So, shortly after the open, before it made this crazy pump up, well, it pulled back. That's not surprising at all. So for a stock like the MCRB coming off hot news early in the morning, it ended up actually popping right out the gate, but then dropped like a rock. I stayed away from this for a long time. Actually, I didn't touch this trade after it broke here. So I missed out on this extended run up from 20 all the way up to obviously 32, 33 bucks high the day. We say this a lot, guys. For a low float stock like this, not even to say for as much as it gets halted on the way up, it's going to come screaming on the way down, but the volume drops off so sharply. So, for as much as this did get halted, well, eventually this got halted on the way down. It reopens with a gap down from there. It wiggled back up, but from there, you got to realize that the move primarily is over. I will tell you, I ended up jumping in on this trade. It took me a long while, but ended up pulling all the way back down. We had support off of 20. We had support off the opening bell print 2004. I waited a little bit. I didn't just try and catch this, as it was falling down to the bid. You never want to catch the falling knife. So you can see I waited a little bit, but I ended up taking a trade on this. Jumped in from 1985. I wish I could say I took a way bigger profit. I ended up getting out, where was it? 21.24. It's good. I'm very happy with the profit, but obviously given for such a big range early in the morning here, it moved up a little bit more, right? So all in all, I don't really care about leaving money on the table, especially now looking at where it is right now. I wouldn't be surprised now at this point for this thing to just come storming back down going into the close. To see the stock pump up 13 points up and to have it dump right back down to where it had opened up normally around this time of the day going into the close, it'll end up dumping off that much more. So be careful on this MCRB trade, guys. All right, definitely going to scratch this from our list for right now. All right, give me a quick water break here, folks. Just one sec. For a Monday, although things are kind of slow, a lot of talking. XTNT. I saw Andrea mention this inside our trading room just a little earlier. Nice run up. I missed out on the initial breakout here. Now, I will say this, much like I say with any stock that looks like the XTNT right now, and I mean, you could say the same just before with MCRB. But for a stock that makes one big move up once already today, it's not going to make a second big move. So we're going to pass on this for right now. OMER, nice little run up as well. Not to say little, I guess, from 20 all the way to 25 plus. Given the range, it might look pretty flat right now. It's definitely in a tighter range compared to this morning. Just recently moved off of 21.30-ish all the way up to basically 22. So, it's still moving here and there. I just think for as much as this stock ran earlier, and it is shortable, it did dump back down pretty nicely. It just looks pretty tight here for the meantime, so I'll pass. If it ends up making a move up or down in the next 5 or 10 minutes, guys, just let me know. I'd rather focus, though, on a stock like this CVGI, though. Trading 1.8 million shares total across the day. I'm going to jump right over to Benzinga Pro, just get the news on this. It's my first time seeing this ticker right now, so let's see. I think it's earnings. All right, there we go. Fair enough. Copy and paste really quick. Looks like the EPS beat, the sales beat. With that, I'm sure there could have been other news aside from the EPS and the sales, but ended up making a nice pop just now. Pop and drop looks like from basically 460, high of the day 475. Let's do a little tape reading, and along with that, we'll also kind of cheat, look at the matrix here. Yeah, actually perfectly right on the dot, 460. You have more volume filled at 460 here compared to any other price point near it. So I would definitely say 460 is a strong level just based on what we see on the TradeStation matrix, our level 3 on the right-hand side. All right, cool. Well, either way, guys, I mean, this is running up beautifully, so I'm not going to focus on a short just yet, although I will say it popped and dropped from 460, so that's the next level going into the close. If it makes another pop and then drop under 460 from there, I'd be pretty interested in trying a short. It's already dropping nicely. We may have missed that move. All right, PHGE and pass. Pretty low volume. Damn, CLSK, are you kidding me still? I took my eyes off this trade going into 12 o'clock when it was kind of peaking back up towards 12. I assumed it was going to hold here, so I didn't really look back. Ended up eventually breaking above 12. Had a tough time doing so, and then finally, shortly prior to 2 o'clock, made the stronger run up. Yeah, it's hard not to put this stock on our list once again, guys. So CLSK, been following this stock pretty much over the last month and a half, day over day. It's like nonstop runs. So for as much as this ran on Friday, it ended up flattening out quick and died off. Obviously today, a new run, looking a lot stronger at this time of the day compared to Friday. All right. Kevin says, I have CVGI at 475 high of the day. Kevin, are you currently short from 475 or are you long right now from 475? Right now, CVGI is at 442 currently being traded at. Got to be careful on a trade like this, guys. Again, 460's resistance based on what we had on the order book. ADMS stock from Friday right away. Just familiar name. It stood out to me. We ended up calling this out on Friday. I came back into the trading room. I lost my power, had it back on by 2 o'clock. And I said at that point I was interested in it, but it was just looking really flat, really weak going into this meeting. Well, obviously, today ended up making a nice run up, and especially going into the afternoon. I'll tell you, this stock is shortable. It hasn't dropped off too far from the highest just yet. So I like it more for that reason, if anything. But if it ends up building some more support, beginning to push back up towards 520, then, I'd flip the script, try and see if this will break higher then. Oh, I just kind of skipped over a couple here, guys, actually. Pardon me. SRNA. Be remiss to not mention SRNE at all here. So Sorrento, we've been following this. I mean, much like the CLSK, pretty much day over day, week over week. It hasn't been as strong like the CLSK. A couple of down days for the Sorrento stock here, but really from last week, we've been waiting for a big move. Well, we ended up getting it on Friday, and with my lost power, I ended up missing the breakout from 1350. I was kind of complaining about that during the afternoon meeting back on Friday. Well, we ended up putting it on our list. It ended up running back up a little bit going into the afternoon. And of course, today, we ended up seeing this make a continued move up once again. It took a little while, eventually broke above resistance. I'll tell you what. Oh, man, really quick, because I just remembered this right now. So I'm gonna get mad at myself as I explain this to you guys. The opening bell print on SRNE this morning was at 1531. Guess who bought at 1531? I ended up closing out at 1544, and it was to take the money and run because I started my day off with a tiny loss. Wanted to make some back. Well, there you go. Nice little win to get me back in the plus. Wish I held on, didn't I? So, with that in mind, guys, just keep in mind, there's always room for more. I turned away from the stock after I got out at 1544. It was kind of choppy, moving higher lows on the way up. Well, I ended up jumping back in, got in from 16, ended up squeaking out another 23 cents. So, hey, I ended up missing a lot of this run altogether, but if the stock gives you another opportunity, you got to look to jump on it, right? So, even after I got out the second time, this thing just kept going up and up and up and up and up. I mean, it really defied what I thought it was going to do and just make a really strong shake on the way back down going into the afternoon. It did make a shake on the way back down, but held higher lows, kept pushing. So obviously we're going to put this on our list going into the afternoon, guys. I feel like Fausto would fire me if I didn't. I'm kidding. But, obviously we're going to put this on our list given the recent activity, the volume, everything. So for right now, currently, there's a 97,000 share order on the ask at 19 bucks. All right, that's our next major resistance. It made a pop and drop from 19 earlier. It held 19 perfectly when it moved back up, and here it is now around 1870-ish. So again, 19 bucks is our major resistance going into the afternoon. I'm going to hope for support around 1850. There's not much on the bid right now. I'd say there's a lot more on the bid currently at 18 bucks, a 49,000 share order on the bid there. So yeah, definitely SRNE we'll put on our list, put back on our list rather, see where it takes us. All right, what else do we have here? OCGN cheapy. A little pop. I'm trying to, at least for right now. Fausto's SRG trade from earlier today. I say Fausto's because it wasn't on the morning watch list, but shortly after the market opened up, well, he was commentating on this trade. We caught this early on from roughly around 1250, continued going much like that SRNE. Surprisingly enough, ended up running all the way up towards eventual high of the day, 1450. And for right now, it's trying to get back up there. It is shortable if it ends up going the complete other way. I don't mind coming back to this trade at least. I wouldn't mind, or I wouldn't be surprised if I end up putting this on our list just at the end of it all. I'd like to just go through the rest first at least, but I'll come back to this. Looks interesting. SNCR, not much. All right, really quickly, just going to skim the rest of the gainers list. Any other familiar names at least that come across here, I'll just look at quick. VRNA, kind of familiar name. Near the highs a little bit there. AEZS, I mean, pushing up a little bit. I do like that. We normally don't trade these cheapies below $1 too frequently, but given the run right now, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't mind just tagging this on at the very end. Trade a few thousand shares, pick up a few cents. Just know your worth on a trade like this, if anything. All right, let's see. Anything on the gainer side here looking good otherwise? TTOO, familiar name. I think they have earnings this week, if I'm not mistaken. They're still holding strong near the highs. That part I do like. If there is anything that I don't like about this trade, it's the fact that there's just so much volume on the order book. You normally wouldn't think that's going to be a complaint of mine going into the afternoon, but with too much volume, it can be like watching the grass grow. So if anything, we're going to put this on our list, definitely. It's like a nice level 1 stock, of course, with all these big orders in the book. It's not really moving too much up or down per minute. But yeah, for right now, 205, big iceberg order, 70,000 shares. You have another 72,000 here at 210, and so on and so forth. All right, I'd say, if anything, the stock's just trading 5-cent increments, roughly every 5 cents, counting from a whole number like 2, for there to be a bit of a larger order on the book. 210, 215, obviously 220 up top here, right? All right, let's hop over to losers list, folks. If there's anything else that's up big, like 10% plus, just let me know here in the chat boards. Works, WORX, down 46+%. Ended up, oh wow, I didn't even realize this until like literally right now. Just goes to show how little I followed the stock at the market open. The stock was halted from April 21st until now. Are you kidding me? I mean, this was a familiar name, but you lay your eyes off a stock for a little while, and damn, I didn't realize that we laid our eyes off this stock works for like 3 months at this point. Holy smokes. I saw this on the losers list this morning. I just saw it was down. It was hard to borrow. I was thinking maybe you get this bit of a squeeze up, but I was too focused on the other trades. We'll get to one that I was focused on in just a moment. It's still down 7+%, but I did well on that one. I didn't focus on this. So, wow, crazy. What the hell happened here? Reopened back from April 21st. I'm going to do a quick look, guys, really quick. My guess, I'm just going to shoot from the hip and guess, because this is kind of like another stock that ended up reopening up after a while. I think it was just that it gained the compliance from NASDAQ. I'll tell you, it's not really too good of a headline. It just says SC works to resume trading at 7 a.m. That's all. Nothing else. Yeah, I can't even copy and paste any headlines here for you guys. There's nothing that I have, at least. Just said common stock resumed trading on the NASDAQ stock market today. All right, so I'll copy and paste that at least. Patrick following up from April. So Patrick did some digging just now for all of us here live. Thank you, Patrick. I'm going to copy and paste that. Patrick says from April, works were halted by the SEC trading suspension. So Again, not a whole lot to that either, but back from April, SEC halted trading, and then of course now reopened up. All right, well, either way, taking us into the afternoon, it's not doing too much. So, I kind of wasted a little time just going through that. I wanted to see what was going on here, to see a stock halted from late April all the way to now. But yeah, for right now, we're going to pass on this, guys. Maybe to keep it on your side list for this week. Maybe we'll have another run back up, maybe Wednesday, Thursday this week, hopefully. What's this? RETA, pretty expensive. Big drop off early this morning. Yeah, for right now, we'll pass, but pretty interesting at least. REPH, shortable, doing nothing. And at least from this point, guys, if there's anything else I'll at least say here, just let me know. I feel like I know what stocks to go through on the loser side here, just skimming through. TGTX, pretty active, at least bouncing off 1850 all the way up towards almost 1890 just about. I don't mind adding this to our list. Just seems pretty active, shortable stock. Volume isn't too light right now. I think TGTX was coming off earnings this morning. HUYA, another one I believe as well. Ooh, this one's dropping off pretty nicely here. Recently rebroke underneath 24. It's pretty much right off the, not lows of the day, but to the last dip. This one's looking pretty interesting, guys. The only issue I have on this is just that the order book looks pretty thin. So just be careful in that regard. You don't want to be caught paying the spread if it ends up opening up that much more. But shortable, dropping off beautifully here. I think HUYA is a China stock. IQ has moved with it in the past, this stock here. It's not really doing much of that as well right now, but all right. So we'll add that at least. If there's anything else, guys, just let me know. DOYU dropping off pretty nicely here. Just got a ping on that from one of our students in the chat board. Yeah, I mean, kind of for the same reasons. Down big at the lows of the day. We always tend to put a stock that's up, that's near the highs of the day on our list. Same rules apply here. So, you know what? For right now, DOYU will make the cut. GSX is just gross, flat. All right. Question here from one of our new members joining from YouTube. Vitali is asking, are you guys not using NASDAQ Total View and using what's called an obsolete level 2? No. So keep in mind, Vitali. No, so level 2 is right here. Yes, it's on my screen. So with TradeStation, the broker that I'm using, what's called the TradeStation Matrix. Right here, it's the name of their program. It's what we nickname level 3. What you see on NASDAQ Total View, you're going to see on the TradeStation Matrix here, plus level 2 data. So this will actually give you a little bit more. For students that don't have TradeStation or a broker that has this type of data, NASDAQ Total View is absolutely essential because that will show you every bid and every ask that's being routed through the NASDAQ ECN itself. All right. So again, if you don't have like TradeStation and have a program like the Matrix here, then it's a must. You need to use the NASDAQ Total View there, Vitali. All right. I also do use my level 2 for other reasons, though, and we teach that right in our class, just to let you know. It's not totally obsolete. All right. What else do we have here, guys? Chuck, RAD, Rite Aid. It's moving up a little bit. It's like a tradable stock, not really too much to write home about. If you did well on this trade over the last week or so, and if it looks interesting, then put it on your list. For right now, I'll pass, but definitely I'll keep it in mind for this week, Chuck. From Greg, TLRY blew through 8. So trending up nicely. I'm a sucker for Tilray also. That aside, I mean, it's up 8%, moving up pretty nicely. So what I'll do is like look at CGC Canopy Growth. If I'm not mistaken, CGC, I think they have earnings this week too. I'll double check that on Benzinga Pro also, but it'd be an interesting week for the pot stocks here, guys. Oh yeah, CGC. Oh hell, CGC had earnings this morning before the market opened. Hence all of this activity here. Looks like it didn't really do too much. Maybe that bigger move will come later today or tomorrow. I think rather tomorrow for CGC. For right now, at least, Tilray moving up pretty nicely. So yeah, I don't mind putting Tilray on our list here, Greg. Good call. I'll check it also on ACB, Aurora Cannabis. Not really doing much right now. All right. All right, guys. I don't see much else. I think that we're good otherwise. Checking on my Benzinga Pro signals. I don't think I've had anything really. This thing's been pretty wonky all day. I might have one. Let's see. Not OPGN. This OPTN, just too low volume right now. I just got the ping from Benzinga on this. It's at the highs. Maybe if it blasts over 7, maybe a little low volume run up, but I'm not looking for it. At the buzzer here from Kathleen, and I forgot about this one, so a very good heads up from Kathleen. Plug. Yeah, pretty slow right now, but it is holding near the highs. It's moved up nicely over the last like 3-4 days. All right. Well, I'll tell you, we know where resistance is on that trade going into the close. You just see it on the chart. You see it on level 3, the trade station matrix there on the far right side. Yeah, for right now, I'll add it on the list at the end, Kathleen. All right. So it won't make the top, but at least for right now, we'll keep this in mind for right now. So all in all, folks, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 stocks going into the close. Aside from that, hopefully a lot more. Actually, not hopefully a lot more, just hopefully we have a nice trade going into the close. If it's not directly from this list, hopefully within the next 15, 20 minutes, we'll look to rescan the market a bit further, see if there's anything else that we could trade going into the close, guys. For anybody tuning in on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube, you guys should know the deal at this point. For anyone new that's joining us, though, if you'd like to learn more about Cyber Trading University, CTU, make sure that you guys call the phone number down below on the banner. One of our education advisors will just pick up and provide more detail. All right, for all of us inside the trading room here, great to see you all back. I don't think that we'll run into any tech issues going into the rest of this week. I have my fingers and toes crossed, at least with that in mind. And aside from that, though, of course, we'll look to try and close out this Monday afternoon just as well as we'd opened it up. Take care, guys.